Hey everyone, welcome back to my craft room. If you're new here, my name is Enid, and in today's video we're going to continue the ephemera building process, and this is going to be the last video in the series. And I'm going to be making belly bands, which I've made in the past, as well as snippet rolls, which I've never made before. I'm going to try to do one out of fabric. And I've messed around with paper ones, so I've got a few to show you. But for this particular video, I'm going to try to make a fabric one. So sit tight and I'll be right back to get started. Okay, so as I said, I'm going to attempt my first fabric snippet roll. And basically what I did is I bought these, they were 8x10 fabrics from Temu. It was a set that came with coordinating colors. And basically what I did with these was I cut 2-inch strips. All right, and for those of you who might not have seen or done one before, basically what I did was I put it out on my mat, and at 2 inches I made a slit in the fabric and then I just tore it. All right, and that's how I wound up with my fabrics. This is the leftover piece after I cut off 6-inch, so this is probably a 4-inch. No, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a 6-inch, and these are I guess 8 inches, because I cut it along the 8-inch side. So let me pull these threads off. So I wound up with I think 12 of these is what I'm gonna need to cover this 12x12 piece of muslin that I cut off of the yard that I bought. So let me spread this out. I don't know if the whole thing, okay, there, that should be on camera the whole way. And basically what I'm gonna do is, based on tutorials that I've watched, a lot of people use glue stick to kind of get their fabrics to stay. But I watched a video on quilters and how they baste, like when they make quilt, they glue based is what they call it. So a lot of them just use Elmer's glue, and what they do, let me open it, that would be helpful, right? So what they do when they glue based, hold on, okay, when they glue based, they just, of course, come on. They just, why is this glue not coming out? Okay, they just basically take their Elmer's, and if this would cooperate with me, I may wind up having to use a, hold on, this is closed. Just bear with me for 1 second. Okay, so this should be open. So basically they take their Elmer's, you know what, I'm gonna break down and do it with my art glitter glue. I know it's gonna be a lot of glue, but so they basically just go around the fabric and they go. And since the art glitter glue dries fast, I'm not gonna do the whole piece like the quilters do. I'm just gonna do a piece at a time. And then they just lay out the fabric on the glue, right? So I'm just gonna wind up having to trim some of these, and I'm gonna overlap them a little bit. So here, I'm just gonna, I want the fabrics to be staggered. So if I put a full piece on one side, the next side I'm just gonna do like a 4-inch piece. And I'm gonna overlap them a little bit. And I'm gonna put a little bit of glue here where they overlap to try to keep it down when I stitch. Okay. And again, I'm going to do a line of glue. And I'm using the art glitter because it dries fast. And I know it'll give me a good hold. All right, so here's my next piece of fabric. And like I said, I'm just gonna go over it, put a little bit of fabric here. I mean, a little bit of glue. Add a little bit more glue here. So I'm gonna come here like this. And then I'll go with my next piece. And this piece of fabric here is curled, so I'm going to put a little bit of glue there just to kind of tack it down. Do the same thing here. Okay. Anyway, so then let me do my next 2 lines of glue. I'm going to do that there. I'm going to do this piece here. I'm going to tack that down. So I made a couple of paper snippet rolls that I will show you as this is drying before I stitch it. Let me just kind of tack this down a little bit. Okay, and then I'm gonna do my next 2 lines of glue. And just do that. And I'll do this longer piece here. Okay, so basically that's it. All right, I got all my pieces laid out, and I'll go and tack down the areas that are curling up. You know what, on hindsight, I should have left maybe little gaps between these, just so that when I cut them, I can just cut out the 2-inch strips and not have them so close to each other. Oh well. So learn from for the future. And it's actually not a lot of glue, come to think of it. So using the art glitter is not that big a deal. All right, so I'm gonna set this aside to dry. And as you can see, all the pieces of fabric are clinging on with the glue. So I'm going to set this aside to dry. And as I wait for that to dry, I'm going to show you the paper ones that I did. And I really haven't done much decorating on them because I didn't, I felt like if I put too much decoration on them, that I wouldn't be able to roll them as well. So as I use them, depending on what journal I use them in, I'm gonna decorate them as I go. So these are each, I think this one is about 3 feet long or almost 4 feet, and this was just paper. And as you can see, I did stitch it, and I just collaged the paper, and I just used random scraps that I had, and I collaged it, and that's it. And I think it's about a little over 3 feet long, almost 4 feet long. And let me bring it up closer so you can see. So this is this one, and like I said, this one I'll probably use like to edge papers in a journal or to make belly bands. And I'll just cut as much or as little as I need of it, and then decorate it with maybe some ribbon or lace or flowers or clusters, whatever I have, you know, that I think looks appropriate for whatever journal I'm working on. So that's how I'll decorate this one. And this one, I believe, is like 1.5 inches wide. Yeah, this one is about 1.5 inches wide. So that's cluster number 1 that I made. This is my first paper roll, snippet roll. And then this one is about 2 inches wide. And basically I did the same thing and just collaged some paper, and I tore some butterflies out. I didn't even fussy cut them. I just kind of tore them out carefully so they still have some border of the pad that they were in. I thought that looked nice, and I added a little bit of doily to this one. And again, I stitched the edges to keep it, you know, from coming apart. And this one, like I said, is 2 inches. And this one can probably be used as side tucks in a journal or thicker belly bands or whatnot. So I really like the way this one came out. I like them both. But yeah, so this is my other roll. And I've had them rolled up, so that's that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shut down for a minute, stitch the fabric one, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm gonna try to keep this as simple as possible, because I had a bit of a time trying to figure out how to sew it. So yeah, I tried to do all kinds of different things that didn't just work out. So basically in the end, what I decided to do was just put 1 row of straight stitch down the middle of each one, which actually I think is going to work out better, because now what I want to do is cut these apart, and I didn't want to have these like sewn together here, because then I would be cutting fabrics, and I want to keep the 2-inch strips intact. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with my large scissor, and I'm just going to cut these apart. And then I'm going to go back and stitch all the different strips together. So I want to try to keep these apart as I cut them, so I could have the individual 2-inch strips. I'm trying not to cut the fabric. I just want to cut the muslin underneath. Okay. So yeah, that's what I want. I want just the fabrics together. And just cutting the muslin underneath, like I said. And then I'm gonna stitch each of the individual pieces together. And then what I'm gonna do is, once they're stitched together, I'm gonna do a zigzag on either side of the strips, but I'm gonna do it all as one instead of doing each strip individually. And then what I might wind up with is zigzag patterns that don't align, and I don't want that. So I'm going to try to zigzag them all together at once. And as you can see, this is all new to me and I'm terrible at cutting. I don't want to cut the fabric. So I think what I'm going to do is maybe stop the camera again, cut these all up, stitch them together, and do the zigzag, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I finished sewing the snippet roll, and it's 6 feet long. And what I want you to see is that at each end I did a zigzag stitch. I hope you can see it at the top to see a little off. And then what I was telling you about was I did that one light colored stitch all the way down on each individual strip to keep it in place. And then I connected them all with the zigzags, right? I connected them all with zigzags. And then once I did that, here's the next transition point right here. I hope you can see the zigzag. So once I did all of that, I went back through the machine and I did the the zigzags in a darker thread, so those could be part of the design. And like I said, it turned out to be a full 6 feet. So just so you could see. So it's a full 6 feet long. And I think decorating might be a whole other video, because I don't have much in terms of like laces. I have a bunch of ribbons, but I don't have any lace really, which I think would look really nice on this. But I just recently ordered some lace from Temu, but it's like a thicker lace, which would just cover up. Let me show you what I got, if I can find it. It's okay, here's the white one. I also got it in a cream, but first of all, this is too thick. And second of all, I think it would just overpower the material. You wouldn't even be able to see it. Let me just cut this out. You see, this is like if I were to lay something like this on it, I don't know, I think it would just be too overpowering. Unless I did like that, and maybe something like that would look okay. So let me know what you guys think in the comments about putting a lace like this underneath. I'm not too sure. But anyway, that's that. And then I just pulled out some elements that I thought might work for decorating this. And I'm really not going to do much. But I was thinking that in terms of like where all these transitions are, maybe to put a strip of lace like that. Something like that. Where each of the transitions occur. I could do something like that. And again, let me know what your thoughts are, because I'm going to decorate this hopefully with you guys in mind. and let me know what your thoughts are. And then I was thinking, I have all these little, I think they're 2-inch fabric squares. So I could maybe do little fabric clusters maybe. And this is coordinating with the fabrics from here. And maybe this button kind of matches that. And maybe put some fabric clusters on it like that. And beyond that, I really don't have many more ideas for decorating it. So I guess it's back to, oh, maybe a little bit of lace like this. I guess it's back to watching videos to see what strikes me. But I kind of like the way this looks, this little cluster on this plain piece of fabric. And then maybe put some little buttons or something. I don't know. I don't have a good collection of buttons either, so maybe just some random buttons around. Who knows? But yeah, this is my first fabric snippet roll. And I think I am going to do these little ribbons. I've made up my mind about that. I think that's going to be the way to go with the transitions and to bring some detail to it. But yeah, this is my snippet roll. It's 6 feet long. And yeah, let me know what you guys think. And we'll probably decorate it in another video. Oh, it's getting all twisted up on me. So I'm pretty excited how it turned out. Oh, over here in the bottom, I didn't realize it, but that turned up. Doesn't affect how it looks in the front, so it's no big deal. Yeah, so this is it. And just wanted to show you a couple of other things that I've been working on. I was gonna show you belly bands, but I don't want the video to go too long, so I will show you some belly bands that I have made in the last week or so. And also when I did the master boards, those neutral master boards, I had a bunch of extra scraps, so I wound up making more clusters with the scraps from the master boards. I didn't really have much left, so and I think I've used 2 of them on the belly bands that I'm about to show you. So I made some of these clusters, and then I made these belly bands. This one I used one of the clusters on, and I basically just took book page and folded it in half, stitched around it, stenciled it, and then added some paper flowers. And the flowers that I had are kind of bulky. Let me show you. These little flowers have these little things in the middle, but they're really bulky. Like, I don't know if you can see, like they come up in a point, and if you put them on like that, you can see how much bulkier they are. So basically what I did was I pulled these off and I smashed the flower down flat, glued it down, and then I took some of my pink fresh glitter dots and put them in the center. So that's how I got that, and I was able to use the flowers. Like I said, I smashed them down, so there's not that much dimension or bulk to this. So this is one of the belly bands that I made. And then I made, I made this one using one of the fabric clusters that I had in my stash, and I turned it into a little pocket so I could put a little tag in there. So that's another belly band I made. And then I made this belly band, which I don't know, I'm not too crazy about. It's kind of, I don't know, it'll grow on me. But I did use the flowers that had the thick little balls. But on these, what I did was I cut off the wire in the back. and flatten them down to have less bulk. And I had this little brad lying around. I don't know if you could tell, it has a little butterfly on it. And then I punched these flowers from book page and a piece of scrap paper that I had. And this I collaged a piece of white cardstock, and I added lace on the trim here. So it doesn't show very well, but it's there. So this is another one I made. And then I made this one, which is kind of small, but it'll still work with a nice size journal card or some sort of pocket. And it won't be from the top to the bottom of the page. It'll sort of just be in the middle. And so I made that one. And then I made this one using one of the clusters that I made with the postage stamp. And again, this is a short one. And it's a bit plain, but I like it. And then I made a few more pockets, just messing around. I made this little pocket using one of the clusters. And again, it's just book page that I folded over and glued here. Put a notch on it. And then I made these two pockets and I added like little bead dangles. So this one I used a button, and it's sort of like a matchbox kind of thing. A match, yeah, a match, whatever you call them. And then I put a little card inside. If I can pull it out. Hello, don't tell me it got glued in. Okay, no, here's a little card that I put in here. So I put that in there. And then I put one of my washi flowers here and some of the Tim Holtz ephemera. And like I said, this is like a little matchbook, so you can just use the butterfly to close it off. And then I made this little dangle that I put on an eyelet, coordinating color eyelet. Use some coordinating beads and just put a little dangle on it. So that's that. And then this one, I pretty much did the same thing. I made a little envelope, stitched around it. And then I had the thread hanging from sewing around it, and I just used the hanging thread to add these little beads to it. So that's that. And it's just a little envelope. Oh, and I put a little Velcro closure. And again, I just put a little coffee dyed paper with one of my washi stickers, which I had to trim the sticker to make it fit on there. But basically, it's just a piece of coffee dyed paper. And I put in there, that in there. And then I took the same washi flower and I kind of laid it across the front and cut it in half. And then I put the top half on the flip of the envelope. And then I put the bottom half here, so that when you close it, it looks like the whole washi flower. So those are just some little things that I've been working on, still trying to build my stash. And I wanted to, you know, throw some beads, like I said, in there. And then this little pocket is really plain. You can put a tag in it. I haven't put anything in there yet. But that's a really basic piece that you could make a lot of, mass bake. And then the belly bands. I like these two, are my favorite with the stencil. And then I love this one. I think this one turned out really cute. And these two. So I hope you can see them all. But that's what I've been up to. So, again, please leave me comments on the decoration of the, what did I do with it? I lost my snip. Oh, here it goes. On what you think I should do with this snippet roll. Okay? So, thanks for watching. Just want to show it to you one more time. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it for it being my first one. I had some issues sewing it together, but it all worked out in the end. Oh, and this is something else I did wrong. When I was trying to cut them apart, I was having some trouble, you know, oh, sorry, some trouble with it. And so I just decided to rip the muslin, and it ripped too much. So it started curling in here because it doesn't have the support fabric in the back. So that's something else. Next on my shopping list is a little rotary cutter for sewing. So I'm going to be probably getting one of those if I'm going to keep making these fabric snippets. So that's it. That's what I've been up to. So I hope you enjoyed watching me make my first snippet roll. I had a lot of fun with it. And I hope you enjoyed seeing the belly bands and pockets that I've been working on. And as always, thank you so much for watching. And please remember to like, share, subscribe, and press that notification bell so you won't miss any of my future videos. Thank you so much. Bye. See you next time.